There are a few things that will put a chill down the spine of any delivery driver, no matter how experienced they may be. First, somebody approaching your car. For the love of God, if you order food and you happen to see the driver pull up in front of your house or in your driveway, wait at your front door. Nothing puts a driver on edge faster. I don't care how good your intentions are, we don't want to meet you in the middle. Just wait at the fucking door. We'll come to you. This happens every so often, and although nobody's ever tried any funny business, every time my instinct is to reach for the knife I keep in my right pocket. Second is a delivery 15 minutes before close with the attached note, bring change for 100, and come around back. I've never been robbed personally, but drivers in town have been. In a situation like this where they're waiting until the end of your shift and ensuring you've got a pocket full of cash, well, it doesn't exactly sit well with us pizza guys. Last is a third story, or higher walk-up. This time of year, after all the time changes and it starts to get really dark around 6, all of these creepy factors get magnified tenfold. It doesn't help that people tend to start to act a little crazy late in the fall either. Spending your whole shift walking up to strangers' houses in cloudy midnight levels of darkness, well, you can imagine how fun that can be. Anyways, my story starts a little over a week ago, and I'll warn you now that there's a lot at play here and the events are still unfolding, so this may take multiple posts, but naturally the best place is to begin in the beginning. It was the day after Halloween, Saturday night, and business seemed like it was wrapping up early. I was in the store mopping when we got a call for delivery about 20 minutes before close, which on Saturday means 12:40. So it's not until after 1 in the morning by the time the pizzas are made and I'm able to drive to the place. I should have known something was off as soon as I turned onto their court. There wasn't a street lamp in sight, and the only lights were coming from my headlights and the soft glow coming from a few neighbors' windows. I didn't think there was any way I had the address right when I pulled up. There weren't even any cars in the driveway. The house was dark and honestly it didn't even seem like anybody could have lived there. The yard was overgrown and browning, the potted plants on the porch were withered, and I couldn't see any lights on inside. We take down a phone number with each order, so I called it to be sure before I walked up to a deserted building. But as soon as it started to ring, an orange light flickered inside. I hung up before anyone answered, left my phone in the car, and walked up to the front door cautiously, pizzas in my hand, my right hand fingering the outline of the knife in my pocket. I knocked on the door, and as soon as it opened, I almost dropped the food and ran. Inside, staring right back at me, was a floating, disembodied, solid white face with deep black pits where the eyes should have been. But then the porch light came on, and the floating head was revealed to be a man wearing face paint. His eyes opened and appeared right in the middle of the empty black spaces. His face was otherwise all white, but all around his eyes and even his eyelids were jet black. He was wearing black pants and a black t-shirt, and he laughed when he saw me jump backwards. Shit, I muttered as my heart fluttered back to its regular rhythm. Pretty twisted joke, man. The guy opened the door all the way and smiled. Sorry, just having some fun. It must be cold out there. Want to step inside while I get the cash for you? Normally I would have said no right away, but he was right. It was fucking freezing and I drew a lot of comfort from having my knife on me. I stepped inside and again I was thrown on edge immediately. Waiting in the living room were 3 more people in all black outfits with different styles of white and black skeleton patterns painted on their face and wearing glow-in-the-dark bone-decorated gloves. There were 2 more guys, one wearing a skull cap with his lips painted to look like teeth and nose blacked out. The third dude was bald and his entire head was done up in a way that was incredibly realistic, complete with detailed shading, tiny painted cracks, and vertebrae creeping up his neck. The 4th person was a girl. Her face paint was done in a more cutesy style with drawn-on eyelashes and decorative spots. Behind the makeup, it was obvious that she was very attractive, and her bright green eyes really popped from the middle of the black circles. She was wearing a skin-tight bodysuit, and her body was, well, even more alluring than her eyes. She was short, maybe just 5 feet, with serious curves, all in the right places. The bald guy smirked and offered me a beer. My unease must have been pretty obvious because they all laughed a bit. We just got back from a Halloween party. Care for a drink? I know you're on the job, but one's not gonna kill you. He winked at me and I took the can and cracked it open, taking a couple big gulps. Thanks. Best tip I've got all night. The girl smiled at me and then dismissed herself from the group, sliding out the front door. The first guy came back with a wad of cash, and the other two were already digging in on the pizza. It was then that I realized how empty the house actually was. There was almost no furniture in the main room. A single dusty old sofa sat in the front of the ashy fireplace. No TV, no decorations. Well, what do you think of our costumes? The first guy with the blacked out eyes asked. Honestly, they scare the shit out of me, so mission accomplished? We were Day of the Dead skeletons, he explained here. Let me show you a full costume. He went into the kitchen area and came back with a big sombrero and a bloody machete. He handed me the machete and I swung it around for a bit. Some of the fake blood came off and flecked my face and shirt. I was a little confused that it still felt warm on my skin. The three guys were watching me, leering, each with a smile on their face that seriously brought the chill back to my body. I was covered from head to toe with goosebumps, and the hair on the back of my neck was standing up straight. I thanked them quickly, and again for the beer, and turned and jogged back to my waiting car. I booked it out of there, my tires squealing on the pavement as I sped away from the house. I was flooring it the whole way, and I made it back to the restaurant in record time. Back in the store, I sat down with my manager and emptied my pockets on his desk so we could go through the credit card slips and cash so he could check me out, and we could both go home for the night. As I counted my tips, he picked up my phone from the desk and started to click around. My manager and I are actually pretty good friends, so I didn't stop him. So, how many dick pics you got on this thing? Huh, Romeo? He joked, clicking open my pictures. Shut up, asshole, I laughed. Hey, who's the hottie? He asked. Turned the screen around to show me. My jaw dropped. The picture was a close-up selfie, taken by the girl with bright green eyes, wearing the white skeleton makeup with a bony finger pressed to her lips, making the shh symbol. I grabbed my phone from his hand, trembling, swiped left. The next picture made me gasp and dropped my phone on the floor. It was the same girl, again taken selfie style, huddled down in the floorboard in the back seat of my car. I worked as a delivery driver for 2 years, and this is the creepiest thing that ever happened to me. I was sent on a delivery around 1 p.m. It was nice and sunny outside. I get to this house, which is in a really nice neighborhood. I ring the bell and an old lady answers it. She had a walker and hands over the money to me. She then asked if I could put the pizza on her kitchen table, for she was alone and carrying things was hard for her. For safety reasons, delivery drivers are not supposed to enter customers' houses, but I thought she's old and needs my help. What if this was my grandma? So I go in. I walked into her kitchen and took the pizza and placed it on the table. I then heard a thumping noise. I thought nothing of it. She says, "Let me give you an extra tip for helping me. Wait here." She walked away and I was left alone there. I heard the thumping noises again. I asked if she heard something and she said no. I then heard another thud, followed by an almost dragging sound come from the second floor. I told her that's not necessary. I got 2 other deliveries to take and I had to go. She said that was fine, and I almost have it though. I started making my way towards the door. As I got closer, I heard a gasp coming from the top of the stairs next to the door. I looked up and saw something rush backwards. I then opened the front door. I hear, "Here you are, sweetie." I say thank you and rush to my car. Went inside to see her watching me from the front door. Now, this is the next part that I'm not sure if it happened or if I imagined it. I thought I saw something from the window on the second floor. I gunned it out of there. I told my coworkers, but they looked at me like I was crazy. Thankfully, I never delivered there again. I deliver for a restaurant in town. Angelo's Pizza is the name, and some of the best pizza in town they have. The nights aren't always busy, and I have a few minutes to kill in there between deliveries, so I bring my laptop to work. Music, writing, and the occasional chess game usually fill the gaps rather well. It's a Saturday night, and surprisingly it isn't too busy. Around 11, a delivery is ready. My boss hands me the food, and I walk out the back door to my car. The short 7-minute drive is fueled by the delicious aroma of fried mushrooms, Canadian bacon pizza, and the monotonous screams of the Black Dahlia murder, which gives me a short adrenaline rush and hypes me up the last stop of the night. I arrive at the address. It's the Heritage Inn, the only hotel in our town of only 9,000. The place is located on the edge of town and is a casual style, 2-floor hotel with a not so vibrant to look appeal. The building is made up of regular drab brick space with normal boring windows every few feet, and the roof is shingled with a dark brown. At night it looks even duller, and tonight the parking lot is next to empty but is filled with a few half-dimmed light posts, giving it an unnerving feeling. The feeling that just makes me want to strategically place my car keys between my fingers, just in case. I pull up to the entrance, which has the most appealing feature to the outside of the building, a 9-foot overhang. I enter the hotel through the single door and then into the concierge's room. I go up to the girl to let her know I'm heading up too. I struggle to read the smudged writing. Room 101, I tell her. To the right of the desk is a door leading to the most eye-catching feature of the entire hotel, the pool. It looks magnificent at night, even when it's vacant and calm, with the dim lights reflecting off the water onto the beige walls. It's an almost surreal and eerie environment, and yet it's so inviting. I go down the hallway past the out-of-date vending machines and past the dark, noisy laundry room. The hall is long and not very brightly lit, like everything else it seemed. Fortunately, the door to the stairs is soon after the laundry room, directly to the right. As I'm walking up the stairway, I can't but help think about the story I heard of this very same hotel. Whether it was factual or just a story, it still gave me a bone-chilling feeling. A murder took place here. One of the maids went on her daily walkthrough, to which room I don't know, and found the sheets of both beds soaked in blood. The police were informed, but no one was found in the room, nor were any bodies discovered in the hotel. There was more to the story, but I couldn't remember anything, probably due to being semi-terrified of the naturally frightening atmosphere the hotel had to offer this night. Either way, all that kept passing through my mind were the images of a corpse rotting away under some bed or under the floor. I near the top of the stairs, and I see the room number 101 through the glass window. A feeling of relief passes over me knowing I won't have to go down the next darkened hallway. I open the door into the hallway and stand in front of the room. I look around me at both ends of the hallway to reassure me that I'm alone. I knock on the door and I wait a few seconds as I carefully balance the pizza and bag with one arm and the order ticket in the other hand. I hear a mumbled voice approach the door. As the door slowly creaks open, a man appears. An instant flashback to Jurassic Park races in my head as the man bore a striking similarity to John Hammond, both age and appearance being around the age of 60 with white hair, a beard, and a rounded face with glasses. The man is on the phone and opens the door all the way. He makes a waving gesture, informing me to come inside. As I get a good view of the entire room, and just as I'm about to take a step into the room, I notice something that is in no way in the realm of a normal hotel room, and I abruptly halt my stride. 3 people in total I see. The first is the John Hammond doppelganger at the door, who is now seemingly pretending to talk on the phone as he hides his head behind the door. The second is a woman, who could possibly be his girlfriend or wife. She seems like she could be in her 50s. She's sitting on a chair directly across the room from the door, looking up, watching TV in the corner of the room. The third is a girl, who I am 100% sure is within 13 to 15 years old, lying on her stomach on top of the bed. This is the part that unsettled me. Aside from panties, she's not wearing any clothes. And as a total stranger is at a wide open door, she makes no effort to conceal herself or even acknowledge my presence. She didn't seem to realize or care that she was half naked, almost like she was drugged. I then noticed the woman on the chair as she is periodically looking towards me, totally aware of the situation. Then I noticed the man at the door who, at least 2 minutes after I arrived, is still looking through his wallet behind the door. Or so I assume that's what he's doing. I got the feeling like he was stalling. He hangs up the phone and apologizes for the wait with a raspy, very creepy voice. I tell him the price and we exchange the food for the money. Between the exchange, I noticed the girl on the bed turned to me for a second. It's at this brief moment I was able to stare into her eyes. They seemed vacant and void of all emotions. They had been stolen from her, like she was lost. She turned back to the TV without a single change in her face. The man notices as I look at the girl and then turns and looks at her, then back at me. He stares at me for a few seconds and asks, "Are you sure you don't want to come in?" He said it with such a large but noticeably fake smile. It scared me and plunged me deep into a feeling of dread as my heart dropped. It was one of those moments where you know, without a doubt, that something is not right. Right would be an understatement, actually. This moment felt like an eternity of darkness overcame me, like some evil entity was piercing my soul. We made our exchange and nothing more was needed. What did this guy want? I firmly declined his offer as I shook my head side to side. He stared at me with that smile for a few more seconds. The woman was still on the chair looking at me and the girl was not moving on the bed. He said, still smiling, "All right then, you have a good night." I stood outside the door for a minute. I think I was in a momentary shock. I put the money in my pouch and headed back down the stairs. I informed the girl at the front desk of the situation, but I don't think she took it as seriously as I did. Maybe I just didn't explain it well enough for her. I exited the hotel and I got into my car and began driving back to town. No music this time. I needed a quiet moment. I decided for whatever reason to call my mom and explain the situation. I explained the delivery from hell to her and she hastily told me to hang up and call the police. I did so, but got no answer. I called my mom back and I said I couldn't get through. She tried calling and I waited. It's been 2 days since the delivery. I apparently had a message on my phone but didn't receive it due to phone trouble from the police who were returning my call. They were interested in hearing my story and seemed pretty concerned. All the probable scenarios, both within reality and exaggerated, that could have happened that night have been swirling my thoughts. Did I make a choice that could have possibly saved my own life, or could I have indirectly witnessed the beginnings of a satanic murder?